So, mate, you've been around for a long time in the four-wheel drive industry as a media personality, as an educator.
Yeah.
Dare I say it, a content creator?
Well, this could be very dangerous, dude.
That's the plan.
But this one wasn't. It was full of rust. It had a 202 in it, and I was trying to make it go faster and faster, and it was still slow, you know?
Yep.
The Outer Side is proudly supported by Tie Gear. Head to www.tiegear.com to explore the wide range of high-quality camping essentials, including guy ropes, screw-in tent pegs, tie-downs, and heaps more. Tie Gear. Adventure secured. Dog and Gun Coffee. Check out www.dogandguncoffee.com to grab yourself some bloody good coffee ready for adventure.
G'day and welcome to the Outer Side. I'm Tony, and in this episode, I'm joined by Mad Matt. Welcome to the show, mate.
Mate, I can't believe I'm here.
I can. You've been on the list for a very long time, mate, and it was very serendipitous that you just happened to be in the right place at the right time this week.
How good's that, mate? How good?
So, before we get into it, I'm going to start with the fast five. So I'm going to ask you 5 questions, and you shall reply with the first thing that comes to mind.
Well, this could be very dangerous, dude.
That's the plan.
All right, thinking.
With an unlimited budget, what is your ultimate vehicle build?
Oh, dude. Unlimited budget?
Yeah.
Well, it's going to have to be planted off a Bandera, the 19, those Banderas.
You like to live dangerously
Oh,
with a
heck
short
yeah.
wheelbase four-wheel drive?
Yeah, I do. But we're going to go proper. Like, we're going to go things like we're going to have, well, the one I'm building now is 80 series diffs. Nice V8. I'm putting a 1 year Z in mine.
Yeah,
Decent
nice.
auto. Something like an Atlas transfer case, something real beef.
Okay.
Okay. I'd definitely extend the wheelbase. Okay,
Yep.
Because wheeling on a square wheelbase is sketchy as.
Yeah.
Obviously twin locked, I would absolutely go down the path of 35s. I'd just pay the money to do the swerve tests.
So you're talking a registered vehicle?
100%, man. Full registered, road registered, Bandera 35s, 80 diffs, wide wheel track. Get that whole thing going
So
on.
a road registered, very short rock crawler is basically what we're talking.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Well, I've already been there.
Yeah.
The trick is you've got to keep them low, mate.
Yeah, well, that's something I've discovegood over the years. The car started growing and getting taller, and
you
now
roll
it's on its way back down because it's been on its side.
That's right. That's how come I rolled my race car the other day. It was 2 years ago.
It's funny watching the evolution of people, right? Like bigger, and then it starts coming back down. It's like you've only got to put the car on its side a couple of times, and you go, nah, actually.
The old Bandera that I have, which is fairly famous, most people have seen me wheeling that. People get blown away when they tell them the build, because that was stock axles and that, but it actually had springs that were sagged from standard to ride height. All I did was put a 2-inch body lift in it.
Yeah, right.
That's why it wheeled
just to fit the tyres.
Yeah, just to fit the tyres, but then the centre of gravity was so low. I used to keep up with GQs on 35s off-road, Weenie Creek or up on Nunes Plateau. It was amazing where you could wheel, because you can pick different lines because you're short.
Yeah, it's amazing watching that when you've got a big convoy and different length cars and, different centre of gravity, and seeing how the vehicles behave in different scenarios. It's quite interesting.
Well, Moon Rock. Now, okay, I haven't wheeled Moon Rock for probably 4 years, so this is very old news, and it's probably changed it. But back 4 years ago, to the hard right of Moon Rock, there was a track up to the right you used to go up through.
Yep.
I used to be able to wheel that with the Bandera, and that's a gnarly piece of track. And you just pick your lines and just crawl it, and she'd wheel up through there, even though it's a stupid short wheelbase. So.
That whole hill is gnarly now.
Even
up the left-hand side, there's quite a bit on now up there.
Got to go there.
Well, we've got to go before it gets completely locked up. Favourite band or music artist?
These days, it's going to come out of total left field. You probably don't even know them. But it's a bloke called Brandon Lake, and he often performs with a guy called Jelly Roll.
I know Jelly Roll. I don't know Brandon Lake.
Yeah, they're Christian artists.
Yeah, okay.
So
is that a bit of country?
Yeah, it's probably a bit. I'm not musical enough to really know exactly the genres, but it has that sort of country feel, and I like country style of music.
Yeah, okay. I won't hold it against you.
Yeah, I reckon you're hard rock. You'd be something like that, headbanging and all that.
I was listening to the Amity Affliction on the way here, which is pretty heavy, but I say that I listen to anything that's not country. So,
well, we ain't going travelling.
No, it's fine. Everyone I know loves country music. I am the odd one out, and I accept it. Best wheeling location in Australia?
Oh, dude. Okay, narrow it down. What type of wheeling?
What do you like to do?
I love
technical. To do all of it, but
I loved all of it. I love the technical. Best location for me, okay, put it this way, if you gave me a budget and said, Matt, just go for a week and have a holiday, I'll probably head to the high country.
Yeah, okay.
And then it comes down to how I feel on the day of like, am I going to go do Mount Sunday track because, you know, hardcore, or am I going to go and find a real nice track like, I don't know, Cynthia Spur or...
So you got options in the high country, right?
You know, and you can get around there pretty quick if you know it, and then, you know, there's some pretty nasty stuff hidden away in there too, so...
Just steep, right?
Yeah, steep and, roll over and it's
consequential.
bad.
yeah, good. What is the first mod that you would do to a stock four-wheel drive?
Tyres.
Good. I've had a few people say, depends on the car, but I disagree because... Tyres, right?
That's what contacts the ground, that's what makes you go forward. That makes you climb steps, whatever, like tyres.
I've had a few experiences with that when I first got into it, going from like whatever was on the car to putting a really good set of tyres on it, and the difference is night and day. It's
absolutely
unbelievable.
Absolutely, has to be.
And it's one thing that I'll never, well, I'll probably complain about it, but I'll never be upset about spending money on good tyres.
Yeah, absolutely. I used to, back when, I mean, we all start when we're broke.
Yes.
You know, and I used to buy retreads.
Oh, yeah.
You don't see them much these days, but they were useless.
Yeah.
They were really hard rubber. They wouldn't flex.
Yeah, and not real good on the road in the weather.
No, they weren't good in anything. They were black and round.
They were good in one respect, and that was the
burnouts.
Well, yes, but also the price is right.
Yes.
What would you eat for your last meal?
I'd have to be a roast lamb. Yeah, Dutch oven, campfire. You know, my family around. Yeah, mate, I could go and crawl into a hole after that.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, that'd be me.
Very good. So, mate, you've been around for a long time in the four-wheel drive industry, as a media personality, as an educator.
Yeah.
Dare I say it, a content creator? I know that's
an influencer. Call me an influencer, please.
You can be whatever you want, mate. There's a few things that are dirty words these days. Influencer and content creator are two things people don't like being called, right?
I called Jesse an influencer online the other day, and my name was Mud, I think.
Jesse Gleason?
Yeah.
Oh, he is an influencer.
He didn't like it.
Where did it all start for you, mate? Where did this lifelong love of four-wheel drives and off-roading come from?
Funny story, eh? So I grew up in Papua New Guinea.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Mum and Dad were missionaries up there. And so grew up around tractors and cars and four-wheel drives, old Land Rovers and just cool stuff.
Yeah.
And I always loved driving stuff. So, you know, if I had some spare time, I'd be, Dad, can I go drive the tractor? I didn't care what I did as long as I was driving it. Move forward to today and, or modern times when, you know, I come back to Australia when I was to do my apprenticeship as a mechanic, and I was into cars. I had you know, what was it, an LX Tirana.
Awesome.
Yeah, no, but this one wasn't. It was full of rust. It had a 202 in it, and I was trying to make it go faster and faster, and it was still slow, you know.
Yep.
A cop pulled me up one day, and because I raced a rotary off the lights, I was so far behind the rotary that the cop could catch me without even having to turn the lights on. He pulled me up. He said, "So you think you're a race car driver, do you?" Yeah, I am.
Yeah. I will be one day, mate. You just wait.
Yeah, that's right. And my next door neighbour was in a local four-wheel drive club, actually, close to where we're filming now.
Yep.
A place called Hornsby. It was the Hornsby Ku-ring-gai four-wheel drive club.
How good.
Doesn't exist anymore, to my knowledge. But back then, it was one of the biggest and oldest clubs in New South Wales or Australia, wherever it was. He was a member of that, and one day he said, "You want to come on a four-wheel drive trip with me?" I'm like, "Yeah, all right." He had a Holden Jackaroo.
Yeah, nice.
No, a piece of rubbish. And we
Whatever
did a track.
gets you out there, mate.
That's well true. So we went to a track, and I can't even remember the name of it, but I bet some of your listeners do. You've got to let us know in the comments. But it was up near Winmalee, and it was a pipeline track.
Yeah, okay.
And it's all gone now, to my knowledge. But we were driving this track. Next thing, we had wheels off the ground.
Oh, yeah.
I was speechless.
Yeah.
That absolutely blew me away. And then at the end, there was this big climb, and I mean, these days we'd just walk it. We wouldn't even get out of the car. But back then, it was a big deal. And I'm watching these cars climbing these big rock steps, and I'm like, I was so blown away. I went home. My car, my Tirana, was sold that week. I'm like, that's gone. I bought just a Rego on wheels, and I saved like stink and bought myself a Holden Jackaroo 1982, and Mate, I've made some mates, and every weekend we were either fixing the things or we were wheeling the things.
That's so good.
It was brilliant.
That's so
where
good.
It started, you know.
It's funny that like first experience, and I'm sure anyone who's into wheeling would be able to go, yeah, this was the moment where it all just went, oh, light bulb, hang on a minute, this is really fun.
That was, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And you'd go out and we'd just, like young fellas today, they're doing the same thing I was doing. They're just any chance, going wheeling all night, all weekend. Anywhere you could find a track, you were wheeling it.
Well, we were just talking about Luke Antrim before we started filming, and he's exactly that, right? Friday night, work finishes, it's like, where can we go and how long can we stay out there wheeling?
That's right, yeah.
It's good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually, I spent a lot of time with Luke. He used to work, help us a lot in Mad Matt, and he and I would, because he was sort of working from home and self-employed, he and I'd go out midweek, just the two of us, and we'd do Wattos or we'd do Nunes or Mount Airlie or wherever, just the two of us. He'd film, we'd just do whatever commercial content I had to do, and we'd just wheel for hours together. It was so good.
He's a proper frother. There's not much that I think you could say to him, hey, what would you like to do today? I think it'd be at the top of the list, right?
Well, how good was that one? You seen him wheeling at Central West, and he drove the waterfall.
It's a buggy track.
And he absolutely nailed that. Yeah. Perfect wheeling, excellent technique.
In a full-bodied wagon that is undeniably a buggy line.
Right. And he just absolutely, I was so proud of him.
Seat time, right?
Yeah.
And he's only a very young bloke, so if he keeps it up, 20s, imagine with a few more years of experience what he'd be capable of.
Fortunately, I'll be out of the picture, so he won't show me up.
Yeah, same. I will have retired by then. Yeah. So how do you go from streetcars to a local four-wheel drive club, and then at what point did you go, actually, I can make a living from this?
Oh, that was years, mate. I very briefly, so I did that, got into the four driving, wheeling, ended up in a 1985 Toyota Bandera.
Yeah.
Okay, that was my first Bundy, and I fell in love with those things. I had that for 5 years, wheeled that everywhere. I got an opportunity to go to Africa as the four-wheel driver mechanic for an overland trip.
Wow.
A private overland trip that was, the idea was to go from London to Cape Town across country. So I went on that, and that's actually where my wife and I connected.
Yeah,
and, right.
When was that?
Beginning of 94.
Wow.
Oh, mate, that's epic times, eh? We drove through landmines. There was literally one bit of country, because it's all desert up in the top there, Morocco, Mauritania up in the top end of, and Senegal, that part of Africa. We're going through the Sahara Desert, and we got offline. This is in the early days of GPS. So it was a screen, and it basically gave you a compass heading, and that was about all. No topos, no maps. And Sean, who was driving it, he'd sort of go a bit right, go a bit left, whatever, to keep me on heading. And I just had a natural tendency to go to the right. Just no matter what I did, I would go to the right. Apparently, it's normal for humans to do that while we just turn in circles. So we got about 2 or 3 Ks off track, and he's like, Matt, you've got to get further to the left. He's like, just let's go cross country. So I'm scoping out, and it's a bit like the Simo, in places where there's lots of big dunes, no growth, and then you'd get a valley or whatever where there's growth. And we got to this valley of growth, and he's like, yeah, let's go through there. All right. So we just turned 90 degrees. We're crossing through there. And there was this mound of sand around a plant. And as we've come to it, the Land Rover I'm driving just slid around it and carried on. And Alistair, who was driving the one behind me, come up to us when we stopped at the other side. He said, did you see the landmine? I'm like, no. He said, you know that bit where you slid around the plant? He said, it uncovered it.
Oh my goodness.
I know. I wouldn't be here.
Yeah, I was going to say, we wouldn't be having this chat, mate.
We wouldn't have been, seriously. So if I hadn't have slid around it, I wouldn't be here with legs anyway.
Wow.
It's like wild times. Then we were, a bit further on, a few days later, we're still in the desert. We're getting down towards a place called Nouakchott, which is the capital of Mauritania, I think. Geez, it's a rusty memory now.
Mate,
but anyway.
I am so geographically deficient, I'm not going to question you.
Okay. But they came over the radio and they said, hey, Matt, the Land Rover just stopped. Because there was 3 of us in the convoy. I'm like, oh, okay. I'll come back. So I drove back, and like it just wouldn't start, just turn on. What's going on here? So I start digging into it. Long story short, it had dropped an exhaust valve.
Oh, good.
Yeah, bent a conrod, fractured the piston, destroyed the cylinder head.
Yeah. So not really a trackside repair, that one.
Not spares you carry.
Yeah.
So from there we headed down into Nouakchott. Long story, I'm cutting it right back, but we drove. It was a good day's drive down into Nouakchott. We spent a week scrounging up spare parts for this thing, and I had a set of old bent vernier gauges to measure componentry. And then we went back out to this Land Rover, and we actually left 2 people with the vehicle, which terrifying thought nowadays. But you know, we were so confident we'd get back to them, but they sat there for a week, and they like, I don't know, there's nowhere for them to go. They'd just die there. Like,
yeah.
So it's pretty sketchy. But anyway, we get back there, and I put this motor back together, and I put it together with a set of the correct size rings for the bore, but I couldn't get a correct size piston, so I had an undersized piston, so it's too small.
Yeah.
And
a bit of slap.
Yeah, a bit of slap in there, and put it all back together. The cylinder head we picked up a reconditioned cylinder head. The valve regression in the valve seats was so far that you couldn't actually see the top edge of the valve. It was buried inside the head.
Yeah, good.
It was real good airplay, you know. But we put it back together and got it going and start heading back towards Nouakchott. And as we're going along, the car's just starting to run worse and worse and worse, and just progressively getting worse, to the end where we roll into town like 10, 11 at night. The car I could barely keep it running.
Yeah.
But I was like, it's rolling, that's all I care about. And we get in there, next day I pull the rocker cover off and start looking around. Even though I tried to assemble it carefully, because there's that much sand dust in the air, the sand dust on the camshaft, on the push rods, you know, the rockers, had all worn everything away.
Machining itself as you were
Correct.
driving, yeah.
So we weren't opening valves no more.
Yeah.
The valve lash was ridiculous. Anyway, that was, so I got that opportunity. Then I come back to Australia, my wife and I got married, and we did a heap of wheeling just in the club, social scenes, typical stuff everyone does. Then I ended up getting a job as a trainer, mechanical trainer, teaching young kids who are in doing rough in life and trying to get in the workforce, teaching them skills to help them get a job or an apprenticeship or something like that. So
good.
Did a lot of training. I was a trainer in the Fall Drive Club. So that sort of started to give me an understanding of educational principles at a basic level. But we then, I then got into business with my brother, and we did a bunch of stuff there, and then I got rid of four-wheel drives for a while. I had a Mitsubishi Canter 4x4 truck for a while, built that up. That wound up being in Fiji, being used by a medical mission organisation in Fiji for dental work and medical work into the remote villages.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, so you know, that was cool, and just doing stuff like everybody does, you know, just doing life.
You say that, but like, I don't know too many people that have just like, you know, gone for a casual little cruise across Africa and dodged landmines and rebuilt Land Rovers in the desert. So, you know, I think you're being a little bit humble there.
Oh,
mate.
Cheers, mate. Well, I thought it was normal.
Isn't that the beautiful part of it though, right? It is normal for you, but for other people, they go, oh my goodness.
Well, dude, you can stay at home and watch TV, or you can get out there and live life. That's how I see it.
Words to live by, mate.
Yeah,
Words to live by. Don't die wondering, eh?
Oh, I'm not going to die wondering.
No.
I'm jamming as much life in there as I can.
Yeah, good on you.
It's, but yeah, so then if we fast forward, you know, when the kids were young, we had a couple of years without a four-wheel drive, and then I bought an 80 series. And
man.
Yeah, mate, best vehicles ever, and I still have the motor and gearbox from that 80 series.
That's cool, eh?
It's still at home, which is really cool. And so yeah, we got an 80 series, and we started doing family holidays and stuff. And you remember Elcool?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was in there and
wow.
bought it up. There was a guy on there called Joff. I don't know if you know Joff. But
No.
yeah, I bought his 80 series, and he and I are still mates. And yeah, that's when, you know, must be around, I'm not sure, early 2005, 6, 7, somewhere in that sort of space.
Yep.
And then I had some friends come over for lunch who were we'd met through our 4-wheel drive club, which was Crossed Up 4x4 Club in Blacktown.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's still going, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
I was one of the founding members of that club.
Very good.
So yeah, we had some friends over for lunch, and we just got yarning about 4-wheel driving because they were videographers and wanting to get into videography more. And we were talking about how we're starting to see these videos on like YouTube or Facebook or wherever, which is all infancy days.
Yep.
And it's like a video of old mate proudly showing us how poor he is at driving, how he doesn't know how throttle control, how he can't pick a line to save his life, but he's as proud of punch of this pathetic drive, you know. And it's like, you're watching this stuff and you're like, oh man, geez, you need a help.
Yeah.
And that was the start of this conversation of, well, wonder if we could do some videos and maybe put them on the YouTube and to try and help people.
Yeah.
Just that. And so we went out the back of Arcadia, and the first video we filmed, we went out there, we filmed approach, departure and ramp over angles and under vehicle clearance. Those were the 2 videos we filmed. They're still on the channel today.
How good.
The cringe factor when I watch those back now, dude.
I get it, man.
Yeah,
I get it.
Oh.
On that note, one of my ex-colleagues from when I worked at Sony sent me a video a couple of months back that I shot in 2011. And I watched it and went, oh, I wish I hadn't seen that. And it would have been, I would have been a couple of years into my marketing career at the time, and I was like, it's probably the first time someone stuck a camera in my face, and I just went, oh my God, like awkward, uncomfortable, talking too fast, just everything about it. But it's practice, right?
That's
like
right.
It's just like driving. The more time you spend in the seat, the better you get at it.
Absolutely. Well, this was 2013, April 2013, when we kicked off that.
The only difference between you and other people is that you kept going so that you get better at it, right?
That's right. Well, I got some really cool encouragement from 2 people particularly. One your audience will no doubt know, but one was just a mate called Mike, and he's in the media industry, nothing to do with 4 drives. I shot him a video and I said, hey man, I've done this, what do you think? And he's like, dude, you need to keep going.
Yeah.
And that encouragement meant the world to me.
Just the motivation to just keep going.
Yeah, you need to keep going. This is worth you pursuing.
Yep.
And then the second was Rick O'Brien.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, Australia Rediscovered. Man, he was starting the Off-Road Adventure Show. Him and Dave Luke were starting that. And I remember going out to Windsor to Rick's office, and he'd seen the content, and he's like, you need to keep going. And just those 2 people giving me that encouragement was enough. Okay. And so I spent actually 2 years deciding how that looked and thinking it through in a business sense and counting the cost. You and I were talking before we started filming, the cost of being a public figure and recognised means that you're on 24/7, you're on display, you're accountable. I can't go through Coles or Woolies without somebody.
More street racing rotaries.
I was enjoying this until you said that.
In a branded vehicle.
I'll let a secret out. I still drag race things.
Yeah, just
to
in
the
a
limit,
controlled,
to the speed limit.
In a controlled environment on a racetrack, yeah.
I'm still an absolute rev head, man. At the end of the day, I say to people, like, there's a time and a place. Just be respectful of what the land manager's wishes are. Yeah. But if you said to me, Matt, come out to me paddock, and you can cut donuts in my paddock in your 200s. I am there, and I'm all about it.
Yeah,
like,
rev heads don't change, mate.
No.
Like I squarely position myself as a rev head. I make no mistakes for it. And going and watching drift cars or drag cars or burnout comps or you name it, anything with an engine, I'm into it. But
100%.
It's time and a place stuff. And also, we're lucky that maybe a few years ago, things were a little different.
Yeah, they
were.
were.
No camera phones for a start, no social media.
Yeah.
Laws were a little different.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah.
But the principles were still the same.
Yeah.
I remember, to my shame, but this is why I educate, because I needed education in the early days, like all of us. So I didn't know that throwing glass in a fire was a stupid thing to do. I didn't know that doing burnouts or donuts in an intersection in a state forest was irresponsible and not a cool thing to do. I just didn't know. But I tell you what, the 4-wheel drive club, hey Matt, you don't do that.
Yeah, stop doing it.
But you know what the key difference was? And this is why I educate. They told me why.
Not just don't,
Yeah,
but there's
it was
a reason
why.
Yeah.
Because that big pile of melted glass is now going to sit in the bush forever and make the place messy. It's cut tyres, kids could run over it, all of that. Just don't do it, Matt. Take your rubbish home. Oh, okay. So I started doing that. Same with donuts. You like coming to the state forest? What if they come through and say, well, this isn't cool, we don't like this, and they shut access.
Now we've got to fix it, which is a cost to us, so we'll just stop people coming in here.
Right. Once I understood the why, my behaviour changed.
Yeah.
And that's the core of what I do today, is trying to just educate people around the why, so then they can change their behaviour.
Yeah. Not because you don't like fun, but it's because you want it to continue, right?
That's right. I want to continue having fun.
Yeah.
I love having fun. I love it.
I think that's really the mindset shift that we need in the community, right? Like, hey, we can do more of this stuff if we don't do a couple of these things, right?
Right.
Like and it's not like we're really suffering.
No.
Like just don't do that stuff.
Yeah.
And if you do it on private property, and don't film it and put it on the internet, because no one can identify whether it's private property or not.
That's right. Yeah,
exactly. We were talking about this the other day when we caught up. You know, it's so much, or everything is now visible, right?
Yes.
And it's when you're having a conversation with a land manager or a politician or someone from parks, and they go, "Oh, but look, this is you guys. You're irresponsible."
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's not you or I, but we're all tarred with the same brush,
that's
right?
And it's one of those tough ones too. You know, we were talking about this as well. Like, if you look at a track in the bush that's eroding, let's say, rainwater will erode that track more than a 4-wheel driver will for the moment.
Every day of the week.
Yeah, exactly. Now, that track goes up a gully, and the environmentalists and all of those clever people tell us that gully has eroded naturally over thousands of years. If it's a natural process, why am I getting in trouble for just being part of that natural process with my 4-wheel drive? So it comes down to, it looks bad because it doesn't look natural. Well, the percentage that is over the scale of everything else is so minuscule, it doesn't actually matter. Let's be frank. It's what's more important, in my opinion, and of higher, greater value and worth the sacrifice, is the recreational and community elements that come when I go out with my mates and we have a positive time. It means that, as a man, I'm not sitting at home going, I've got nothing to do, I'm going to drink and get on drugs.
Drink beers and watch TV.
And, or whatever other things. It actually gives you a good social outlet, and social interaction amongst mates and families and kids and dads and all that is imperative to the health of our wider community.
100%, mate. Mental health, physical health.
Correct.
Fresh air, like kids in nature. And this is obviously something that I'm extremely passionate about,
I love it.
As you are. And, it really changed for me when I had my daughter.
Yes.
Because all of a sudden, and as a father yourself, your whole mindset on everything changes when you have kids. But I just sat there and looked at this tiny little thing and went, wonder what it's going to look like for her when she gets to, not even my age, but when she's in her teens, or, I want her out there camping with her mates. Right. I don't want to go and, go to a nightclub if you want to, but if it's go drink alcohol till 4 a.m. in the city, or go out and camp with your mates, probably still drink a few beers.
Yeah.
I know where I'd rather my daughter be.
100%,
and
mate.
When I look at what's going on, I think, is there an agenda to keep us out of the bush? Because it feels like it a lot of the time.
It really does feel like it, and unfortunately I feel like it's from people that have very little. They like the thought of the bush being way over there, doing lovely things for the environment, but we don't have to go in there. It's a feel good.
Yeah.
But the sacrifice they don't know they're making is those people like our audience, the people who are listening to this, who understand the value of the bush. And I don't care if you're a hunter, you're a shooter, you're a canoeist, you're a horse rider, you're a 4-wheel driver. We all have the right to use and recreate in that place, and we all must respect the other users. So if I see a horse rider on the trail, man, I'll stop my car and I'll turn it off. And I will sit there quietly until they've passed, because they have as much right to be in that place as I do, and it's not mine to dominate everything and be obnoxious about. Same with bushwalkers. I'll share a little anecdote with you that happened
about an hour ago.
Oh, okay, here we go.
So coming up here, I was driving along in the 80 and I went, what's that on the road? That's weird. That's moving. Oh, it's a turtle. And this little turtle was walking very, very slowly, as turtles are prone to doing, across the road, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So he was on the other side of the road. I pulled over and I thought, I'll give him a hand. I don't want to see him get squashed, right? As I get out of the vehicle, I see a trucking dog coming down the road, and I went, put my hand up to stop him. He slowed right down, and I saw him looking, and he went, oh yeah, bit of a chuckle.
Yeah.
The other way, there's a BMW X5 with some probably very wealthy horse-owning woman in it. I stopped her as well.
Oh, good.
She had a little giggle when she realised what was happening. I went and picked up the turtle. It peed all over my pants.
Yeah, they stink, don't they?
Yeah, don't smell great. So, I don't smell great now. And I put it on the side of the road, gave them both a wave. Everyone's very happy and everyone goes about their business. And
that's so
three
good.
people from three completely different walks of life.
Yes.
We've all got places to be and things to do. And we all went, hang on a minute.
Yes.
Let's just take 20 seconds here and help this little turtle get across the road. Like, it's the simplest thing, right? But I got back in the car and I went, I feel good about that.
100%,
you know, and
man.
it's the same thing in the bush. Like, as you said, having respect for people on horses. If there's hikers or whatever, you know, and it can be the littlest thing. Like, you know, if some people are walking past, maybe just don't give it the big old party rev. And,
correct. Don't sort them.
Yeah, just give them an opportunity to keep going about what they're doing. And I think that's the thing that's going to be the defining factor for us as outdoor recreationalists. Like, can we find some common ground? Because if we continue to remain divided, nothing will change, right? Well, it will change, but it'll change for the worse.
Change for the worse, mate. I have to applaud what you're doing at the Parliament level and what you're doing with Cowboy Tuned and all of that. I absolutely applaud you, and you have more than 100% of my support. I have to confess, I'm so jaded personally by the process, because I've been fighting this fight from, I know it started before this, but the one that really stands to memory was a place down at Yarwell. We used to be able to go in to Yarwell Creek and the Shoalhaven River and wheel up the Yarwell Creek, camp at all these beautiful campsites, swimming holes. It was phenomenal wheeling and brilliant stuff. Bob Carr came in, shut it all down, turned it to wilderness. And we used to leave home of a Friday after work, drive down, wheel all weekend, drive back Sunday night. And that was, like, we'd do that weekend after weekend. It was all the time.
Never get sick of it.
And when that came up, we were like, no, you can't close it. And we all roared down there and had protests and stuff and to try and keep it open. We were so behind the late 8 ball and had been so blindsided by the Carr government and their process that we just lost it. We had nothing to offer. And then since then, I've been on part of the Fall Drive clubs, part of the associations. I've tried to be part of the process, and I just don't have the skills to lead and that sort of process that you guys are doing. So the way I see my role is to sit where I am and educate and have this sort of conversation and try and bring to an audience, hopefully people listening to us, I hope it's some wisdom from years of this process. I've been, like, I started wheeling in 89, 90. So there's a fair few years of experience there. A couple. Yeah. And I would like to think I've got some insight and some wisdom to bring to the table. And I hope people can hear my heart is not to shut them out or anything. It's to empower us to unify. Exactly what you said. If we can all unify, and that's why I'm not a shooter, but I'll stand with the shooters and fishers.
Yes.
Okay? I'm not a fisherman either. I'm hardcore forward rider. That's about all I do, you know?
Yeah.
But I will stand with whoever will stand with me, because I will compromise so that we can all have access. Because otherwise we're going to have none.
Because we don't all need all of it, right?
Correct.
And this is the sort of misnomer, right? The places that we want to wheel, 9 times out of 10, not great hiking environments.
Correct.
And shooters don't want to be anywhere near anyone. So this whole thing about, people shooting on public land for recreational hunting is dangerous. No.
I don't think anybody's ever been shot.
Not in a state forest.
Right. In national parks?
No. Well, you're not allowed to shoot in national parks.
That's a shame.
People have been shot on private property. But in New South Wales, since state forest hunting was legislated, over 20 years, not one person has been shot.
Injured?
And no one's been shot.
Yeah, wow. That's cool.
When I'm hunting, I don't want to be anywhere near a four-wheel driver or a motorcyclist or a hiker, one, I don't want to shoot them, but they make noise.
Right.
And hunting's a quiet pursuit.
Yeah,
so these different activities can coexist quite harmoniously.
Yes.
It's the whole just locking everyone out of everything that's the problem, right? And something that you just said then, Matt, about being jaded, I get it. You've been doing this for a very long time. You know, I talk to people like Shauno. I talk to, you know, people who've been around for a long time, much longer than I, and they say, we tried.
Yes.
We tried.
Yes.
We fought so hard and we got nowhere. Ruthie was he was right behind it with Unlock Australia, and in the end, they attacked him personally to the point where he couldn't do it anymore, right?
And half the time it was the people he's trying to keep access open for were attacking him. It's like, talk about shoot the hand that what is it? Shoot the hand that feeds you.
Bite the hand that feeds you, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, seriously, guys.
I've been copping a bit of that as well.
Well, you shouldn't.
Going, oh, well, you and those four-wheel drive 24/7 guys are out destroying tracks. And this comes back to what we're talking about, you know, and you mentioned it yourself. We're not destroying tracks. We're driving gazetted four-wheel drive tracks that are already affected by the environment.
Yep.
And the thing is, 4 vehicles up a track on one day, we might be on there for a couple of hours.
Yeah.
What about the other 364.5 days a year where rain and natural erosion is occurring? That does far more damage than we'll ever do.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, the one thing, and I live on the Central Coast and I travel to Sydney quite often. There's a bit of bushland between the Central Coast and Sydney, and you can wheel pretty much none of it.
Yeah.
And I often ponder as I'm sitting on the highway there, even if they opened up all those fire trails, and they are fire trails, what is the actual percentage in terms of the land mass that we would then have access to?
Oh, it'd be minuscule.
You know, and you think nationally how much bushland we've got, and we all love the bush. We want to protect it because we enjoy going there, right?
Yeah.
But the trails being locked, the impact that it has on our community, and as you said, all of the benefits that come with it, versus the perceived protection of biodiversity, it doesn't add up, right?
It doesn't add up. It's people living in dreamland, to be honest.
Living in the inner city, invariably, that don't go to these places, right?
No.
So look, we could talk about this for many hours, but I suppose, in summary, I understand why you feel the way you do about it in terms of being jaded. I've only been doing this for about a year now, really hard in terms of pushing the political bandwagon. Yeah, it's not easy, and it feels like it's an insurmountable problem. But I think the message that I want to spread to the community is that everybody has a part to play.
That's it.
Not any one person can do it. I definitely can't do it.
No.
But I think everyone has a part to play, and hopefully we can get to some sort of...
What I'd like to encourage anybody who's watching this, listening to it, is none of us are going to agree on everything with what Tony's doing. But Tony, you've stood up and said, okay, I'll lead the charge. I'm going to lay aside as much of the disagreement I might have with you on a particular issue or whatever as I possibly can to stand shoulder to shoulder with you and charge. Okay, because you're leading the way. You've put your head up, and I will defend you if somebody wants to tear you down. I will stand with you however I can because you've stood up. And so, what I want to say to you now is, I'm with you. Whatever that looks like, I'm with you. Because I live in Queensland, I can't specifically support you, but emotionally I can.
Yeah,
you know.
You can.
And just commenting on your posts, and I have been commenting, liking,
sharing it, just spreading the message, because that's all we're trying to do, right? We're just trying to bring it to the surface. Because the worst thing that we can do as a four-wheel drive community is sit around with a bunch of like-minded people at a campsite complaining about the situation.
Yeah, you got to change it.
It's the definition of an echo chamber, right?
Yeah,
like we can all, you know, very strongly agree with each other and nothing will change. But as frustrating as the political landscape is, and I can tell you.
Let's not get started.
I'm not going to get into it, but none of them are good.
No.
It's not about Labor or Liberal or the Greens or the Shooters or the anyone.
Yeah.
They all have, I'm sure some of them have some positive attributes.
We just can't find it yet.
We're not sure what they are yet, but they've all got their own agendas, right? And this is absolutely not the number one agenda. There's much bigger things at play. Yeah. But I think the message that I always will try and convey to people when we talk about this is the only way we're going to see any change is if you threaten a politician's job.
Yeah. Yep.
If they're worried about losing their seat and it becomes an election issue, then all of a sudden something will get done.
Yeah.
And the only way that happens is with numbers.
Yes.
So people have just got to get involved.
That's
and as you said, it can be as simple as liking a post or commenting or sharing it with your family.
Yep.
They don't have to be four-wheel drivers, but educating people on why the bush is important to us.
And I'd like to just throw the challenge out to my fellow influencers, content creators, TV show hosts, you know, the Pat Callanans, Jason Andrews, all of you guys. We're all together with this. You're not isolated off on your own. No. We all need to stand together on these sort of issues. And I know I've spoken to many of these guys personally, and they have the same heart.
Yeah.
But come and stand beside. Same with Shauno and Graham, Jocko and Jesse. You've got to lay aside the commercial.
Yep.
You won't have the commercial if you don't stand united at this level. That's my personal opinion.
No, I agree with you, mate. And it's a bit of a minefield when you start talking about particularly the corporate aspect of it.
Yep.
And I think, you know, I was having this conversation down in Adelaide just recently at the 4-wheel drive show, and someone was talking to me about, you know, what I've been doing, and I said, there's two aspects to it. There's the personal one, very selfish.
Yeah.
I want to be able to go there with my family and my mates.
Absolutely.
But the second one is, I derive a large part of my employment from the 4-wheel drive industry.
Yeah,
and I said, look around you.
So do I.
What is the point in modifying a vehicle if there's nowhere to take it?
Correct.
And ultimately, you know, I think I'd love to see some of the bigger companies in the industry really start to put some weight behind it as well.
Yep.
There's a few things going on in the background that I can't talk about right now, but we're trying some different avenues to bring some corporate input into it. Because at the end of the day, the one thing that the Greens do very well is lobby.
Yeah.
And lobbying costs money.
Yes.
And someone's got to fund it.
Yeah.
So I think that's the position that we're going to take, is the only way to fight them is to fight them the way that they're fighting with us, right?
Fight the way that works, yeah. Well, that sounds awesome. I absolutely believe that if you as a company derive your income from the industry, it's incumbent upon you to give back. So I'm a husband and wife business. We are tiny, but we derive 100% of our income from the industry.
Yep.
So we support the Fraser Island cleanup.
Yep.
Okay, every year, the last few years, I've gone as an MC. We don't charge for it. We pay to go.
You going there next year?
I hope so.
I hope so, because I'm going to be there for the first time. I've been trying to go for, I think we've supported it for 4 years or something.
And you've never got there.
And I've never got there, but this year I said, stuff it, I don't care what's happening, I'm going.
Well, make sure you bring your wife and daughter and come and make
it
a family holiday, because that's what we tend to do, is go a day or two earlier.
100%.
But that's something that costs us personally, you know, $1,000, $1,500, and then we usually do some content, so that costs us a few thousand as well. From our small business, that's what we can contribute back to saying to the community, saying to the world, we care, we're helping to clean up.
And we're thankful that we have access to this phenomenal place.
Yeah,
it is a phenomenal place.
Oh, it's amazing.
There's something special about that little lump of sand out in the Coral Sea there, isn't it?
I actually went, 2 weeks ago for my wife's and my 30th wedding anniversary. I went somewhere I've never been.
Really?
I went to North Stradbroke Island.
Oh, right. I've never been there either.
It's awesome.
Oh, yeah?
We had a ball. Just sat there on the beach and did nothing. It's
good.
fantastic. It was busy as.
Well, that's when you know a place is good, right?
Yeah, it was so good.
It's busy for a reason.
No, as in, we were the only ones. Like,
really?
There was no one there. It was so good.
Oh, I thought you were being sarcastic. No, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen too often these days. And I think, you know, one of the things that is causing an impact undoubtedly is the growth of the 4-wheel drive industry and the community, right?
Yes.
There are more people into 4-wheel drives and 4-wheel drive adventure now
and camping and caravanning and all.
Right?
That's right. And there's
which
I hope people aren't offended by this, but they're largely uneducated.
Yeah.
It's a huge amount of uneducation, misinformation. I put up videos which I know are absolutely correct information. Like, I have a lot of peer review stuff going through my, so if I'm bringing subjects, I know there's people who have written books about that, and that's the resource I'm using to write the video, the video on. Yep. So I know I'm good in putting out good information, and I get people arguing with it. It's like,
oh, well, that's just the internet, mate.
Dude, you're so wrong.
Yeah. Sometimes you just go, I just reply to people and go, thanks for your input.
Yeah. Interesting comment.
Yeah. It's okay to be wrong. And you are.
Yeah, anyway.
It is challenging, but I think with that growth of the four-wheel drive community, and it's fantastic, right? You
I
love it, I love it.
do.
I love seeing new people coming in.
Yep.
When a mate of mine goes, I just bought a four-wheel drive, Tony.
Yeah.
And I go, hell yeah.
Come
and
on.
Then it's, hey, these are some things that I've stuffed up and I've done it.
Yep.
I've made all the mistakes and I'll make heaps more.
Yep.
Here's some things that I didn't know, just so you know. And they go, oh, that's really good. Because when you start, you've got no idea.
Oh, none
And there's
at all.
a lot of moving parts, right?
Yeah, none at all. That's right.
Literally,
You don't know what any of them do.
No.
I can remember for years not knowing what a diff lock was. No clue. I couldn't understand this concept of how it worked.
Even just recoveries, you know, like what looks to be quite a simple process.
Oh yeah.
I know you've been involved in some, you know, some really out there ones, and some of the stuff that I've done with the boys from 24/7, and you know, even just in social wheeling, you learn so much all the time. Just those little nuances can not only make the difference between a successful recovery and an unsuccessful recovery, but a safe one and a dangerous one. Right?
Absolutely. And that recoveries is the one to be honest, I'm sick of talking about recoveries.
Yes.
You know, I've talked about on and on, but I will continue to talk about because it needs to be.
Well, because people can die.
That's right. And people are constantly coming into the industry thinking, yeah, you just grab a statue, mate. That's how you recover. Everything is vehicle to vehicle with a kinetic recovery. It's like, let's not.
The most dangerous way you can do it.
Right.
Pretty much,
I think the last time I did a kinetic recovery, which is different to a tow recovery, subtle differences, but it's different, was probably 3 years ago. 3, maybe 4 years ago. And I do as much wheeling as you.
You do a lot more than I do, mate.
Okay, then more.
I'm a recreationalist at best.
Okay, well, you know, and all of that, and that's how rare they should be used.
It's the last resort, right?
It absolutely is.
So I recently snatched a car when we were in Cape York, and it was because we could not winch it out of the bog hole it was in. We'd tried double line pulls with a high mount. We'd tried winching over a tyre. We had tried everything. The car was not coming out. And we did the safest possible snatch we could. And I watched the video of it only a few weeks ago. I reckon the snatch rate was under tension for 0.5 of a second. It was just enough to pop him out of the suction, and that was it, right?
Perfect.
But those, and I've done it as well. I remember when I first started that, you know, repeatedly snatching a car at full noise, and you know, I had snatch straps break and hit the back of my car and punch the tailgate in on the Navara and all sorts of things, right? Like, I think you play such an important role in the four-wheel drive community as that educator. You have the cred, you've been around, you've done it, you've made the mistakes, you've seen other people make the mistakes. And as a resource, what you put out there, I think, is phenomenal.
Yeah, thank you. It's a lot of hard work.
It's a thankless task.
It really is.
Because all you've got is people waiting there to say, nah, you're wrong, nah, you don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you're an ignorant, you just started a YouTube channel yesterday and now you think you're a professional. It's like, oh, dude.
Not really.
Back to the kinetic recovery, I'll just say it because we're talking about it. It's just a helpful piece of way to understand the forces involved. And Robert Pepper, he and I are good mates, and we talk a lot on this sort of subject, and he's written a lot of good books on it. But he's got an excellent video on how dangerous snatch recoveries are, or kinetic recovery. So I'm no mathematician, so I sort of say this the way I understand it. But if I said to you, there's a car that's bogged and it's going to, we're going to get it unbogged. The car weighs 2 tons and we've got to put, 3 tons of force and it's going to come out. So we hook up your snatch strap and your car weighs 2 tons and you drive away. Yeah, we'll go with that. I'm trying to keep my mathematics real easy here. So you go 2 tons and you drive away at 4 k's an hour, okay, which is quite slow. Okay, and let's say that you generate 2 tons of force at 4 k's an hour. Let's say you go up to 8 k's an hour because it doesn't come out. How much force do you think you're going to generate? First time was 2 tons. How much force are you going to generate at 8 k's an hour?
I don't know. I would say it's more than double, right?
Yeah, it's 4 times.
Yeah.
So we double the speed, you times 4 the force. So now we're 8 tons of force. That's the rating of your snatch strap.
Yep. And that's why they break.
Right. Yeah. Most four-wheel drives can hit 20 k's an hour in first gear low range.
Yes.
Quite easily. Okay, in a very short distance. Okay, so it ramps up. Every time you double speed, you quadruple the force. That's why you see these kinetic recovery videos where whole vehicles launch vertically.
Yep.
Because you've generated that much energy.
And it's got to go somewhere,
And
right?
it's got to go somewhere. Here's another thing. If you're in the military, they're banned.
Are they?
They are that dangerous, the military will not allow you to do a kinetic recovery.
Yeah, wow.
Yet here we are in the four-wheel drive industry where the old mate has just bought his brand new four-wheel drive and he's got his kinetic rope or snatch strap and he's sending it to the moon.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, you don't know the dangers. You're playing with a gun and you've got the barrel pointed at you.
Yeah.
Like, and that's why, like, you got to keep, I feel like I got to just keep saying the message, trying to put the fear of God into people. And just trying to help people where I can. And I know I've saved lives, you know. I know I have.
And look, I'm not here to be the four-wheel drive industry police, but one thing I would say is there's not a great deal of information in terms of when you go buy a snatch strap. It's not like it comes with a big old instruction manual or, hey, don't do this or you could die.
It comes with a warning label.
It comes with a warning label saying like, hey, this could hurt you.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think there's an element of personal responsibility that comes into it.
Yeah.
But this is where, you know, and I say it again, what you do is so important in terms of that education, because a lot of the content that's out there now is for entertainment purposes only.
Yep.
There might be a comment about, oh, don't do this or whatever, but I don't think anyone else really sits down and goes into the level of detail that you do with the education. And good on you.
Thank you.
So where did that begin? I know you said you were doing some stuff with disadvantaged children.
Yeah, youth. Yeah.
Yeah, youth. Sorry.
Yeah.
Which I think is, you know, very admirable. And then the four-wheel drive club. But how did that turn into now? When I think of you, I think of Matt the educator.
Educator. Well, time.
Yeah.
Time. I started with a few key principles. I never wanted to be a celebrity.
Yeah.
I do this as an act of service to a community I care about.
Yeah.
Okay. If someone said to me, Matt, you don't have to do it anymore, you can just go wheeling and hanging out with your mates, I'd give all of this away tomorrow. But that's not going to happen. But, you know, it's an act of service to the community. It's something I believe I've got a skill set that helps. So bring it to the table, put it on the table and offer it. I've been fortunate to, when I started, I thought I've got to build a network of authorities that I can refer to. So Robert Pepper, John Eggenhausen from about Vic Widman. I've got guys in the States like Bob Waller, Jason Andrews from Factor 55. You know, like these are people who are absolute, they're authors, they're educators, they're high-level thinkers in the recovery space. There's a lot more of Chris Cole. You know, there's a lot more of these people who I've met and I've built relationship with and rapport with, and I think they're more experts than I am, but I use their resource and I hold myself accountable to them, and they'll inbox me and say, Matt, you know that bit you said about this or that? What about this? And we have the argy-bargy.
Yep.
And I'm not shy to come to the audience and say, guys, I got it wrong. I'll own that.
That's the beauty of being human.
Yeah.
We all make mistakes.
Yeah, we make mistakes. So that was how I started to approach the business, and then basically time in the game. You just meet people, you keep going to shows, you find a bit of work where you can, and you know, pays for another video to be made, and over time you start, you know, commercial sector says, Matt, could you talk about my recovery products? So I always try to work with companies that are premium companies who have an integrity. They're not there for the quick sale, they're there for the industry and have more of an industry heart, because that's what I have, so I want to be partnered in that way. I've got companies like Ultravision Lighting, Maxxis Tyres, Terrain Tamer, GME Radios. Like I've got companies who we've been partners for years, and we're, as far as I'm concerned, we're staying partners because it works. And so there's that integrity in what I do, because I want to be a man of integrity. That my yes is my yes, my no is my no. If I make a mistake, I'll own it, and because I'm here to serve. I'm not here to get my ego stroked, and I'm not here to try and get make $1 million out of the industry.
I could think of a few better ways if you wanted to make $1 million.
Oh, you wouldn't do
than
this.
doing what you're doing.
No, but
I wouldn't suggest podcasting either. It's
well, I'm doing that too.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess if you put enough different components together, you could get to the $1 million eventually.
But money doesn't make you happy. You know what's made me happiest in my life? It's my Christian faith. It's relationships. It's people I've met. It's the things I've got to do with people. It's not the things, it's the people I get to do them with. I've made feature movies with four-wheel drives. I've made short films. I've got to go on TV shows with
experiences, right?
Oh, mate, it's awesome.
Yeah.
The adventures I've got to go on because of what I do, and it's the adventures are awesome because the people I do it with.
Yeah.
Go on your own and try and have an adventure. Oh, it's not my thing.
Yeah.
But go on an adventure with a bunch of mates. Oh, dude, that's the bomb.
You're absolutely right. And, I was talking to someone about this just the other day. Who you're with on the trip has such an impact on whether it's like, oh, yeah, it was pretty good, or that was amazing. Right?
Well,
and I've been very lucky that I've been on some trips with some people who I'm lucky to call really good mates.
Yeah.
And, I'd go tomorrow.
Right.
If they said, hey, let's go do whatever it is for 2 weeks, I'd go, I'm there.
Well, that was one earlier this year. It was a work trip that was as much fun. And we went across the Simpson Desert with Lucas from the Springs and then Dave Luke, who came filming it, and Middo, who was there.
Oh, Dave Middleton?
Yeah,
he's a great bloke.
Yeah. And mates, it was a work trip that was really just work paying for mates to go wheeling. I've got to manage those conversations with work when they're like, oh, you're just going on a holiday. I'm like, no, it's work. Just because I'm having fun doesn't mean it's not work. I love my job.
Now, you've done the Simo a couple of times, I reckon. You strike me as someone who might have done it a few times.
3 times, yes.
But last time you did it was a little bit different.
It was. First time was different too. Anyway.
Why was the last one different?
Because I got to be the first bloke to take a BYD Shark across the Simo.
And no one can ever take that away from you.
It's mine.
Yeah.
Yep.
You will be written into the history books.
Yeah, it'll be a small book, and I don't think anyone will read it. But
it's fine. You can claim it, mate.
I claim it. I own that.
So how was it?
It was awesome, eh?
Yeah.
We had a ball. That car is such a mind-bending thing. Everything's wrong about it.
Yeah.
But it's so awesome.
It's so wrong that it's right.
Yeah, it's like it's done the full circle somehow. Yeah. It's I don't even know really how to describe it. Why I bought it was because if you give me a traditional four-wheel drive, I know how to wheel it. I've driven so many of them in so many different places. You can put me in a brand new traditional four-wheel drive that I've never driven, whatever model it might be, and I'll be straight off the bat, I'll be able to wheel
drive it.
Yeah. Put you in this, lost.
It's a spaceship.
Yeah, and that's why I bought it, because, like, for example, it's got electric motors, one at the front, one at the back. They're not connected. So you can be in four-wheel drive, so to speak, but only have one wheel turn. You can't do that in a four-wheel drive with a traditional driveline. Help.
So can you turn off the rear and keep the front going?
In different modes, it does.
Oh, but you don't have... So it's not like a crawler. No. You don't have disconnects.
No, you don't have that. But then at other times, you'd be like, oh, we're stuffed. And then all of a sudden, I'll get you through. And then it drives you through. You're like, what happened? I didn't do anything.
Traction control wizardry
it's weird
going on.
It's a lot of fun to drive. It's fast. Dude, it's so fast. It's ridiculously fast.
Just torque on demand, right?
On demand, and no gear changes, and it just starts pulling and goes. Like, it weighs heavy, I won't say any more than that.
Yeah.
And it's to 100.
Even before you accessorised it was heavy, right?
Yeah,
all the batteries, right?
Yeah, and motors and that.
Twin electric motors plus petrol motors plus, yeah.
6.2 seconds to 100k an hour with a rooftop tent and all the rest of it in there. Like, dude.
That's a sentence that probably shouldn't be uttered, right?
Yeah.
6.2, 0 to 100 with a rooftop tent. I wonder what it'd do with the rooftop tent open.
Yeah, we could find out. Probably 6.3.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, but it's it did really well, and basically it was stock. You know, it had I had 2-inch springs, but standard shocks in it. It did the whole thing really well.
That's cool.
It didn't struggle. Well, sorry, it did struggle. There's one unique place it struggles where a traditional four-wheel drive doesn't tend to, and because underneath it is completely flat. Okay, there's no diffs or transfer cases hanging down.
Yeah,
it's
right.
just 4 independent suspension. Other than that, it's flat underneath. So when you crest a sand dune, it won't do the breakover angle, and it's long.
Yep.
It's actually quite a big vehicle.
So you belly out.
You belly out, and then because you're up it, the motors will just wheel spin and dig all the sand out real quick, and it'll belly, and you'll be like. Dum. Whereas a traditional four-wheel drive, you'd back off and hit the brake and stop the wheel spin. You don't get to do it.
Yeah.
And so twice I bellied it. Unfortunately, Lucas only did it once, so he took the win.
He had an advantage on you there.
Yeah.
I'm sure he won't ever remind you of that fact.
No, he'll never remind me of that.
So how long did you take? Did you just do it like a normal
4 days.
crossing? Yeah, 4 days.
4 days. So you know how we had, the four drive, Josie and Jock got it stuck out there with that rainstorm? Wild. We were heading out there. I'd bought the Shark. We did the Brisbane show. I went home. I built the Shark in like 4 days, and I hit the road to head and do the crossing because we were going to try and be as soon as the desert opened.
Yep.
I was heading into Broken Hill, and they closed the desert on us.
And they were in there, right?
And they were in there on the way out, and so that stuffed us up. And then we we just did on the YouTube channel that we did a fuel range test as a frantic, like, what can we come up with? That was our backup plan, which still was good content and come out well. And then we went back out again for the actual crossing, and that was, again, it was still, when we left home, it's like, we've got to do something now because our calendars were tight, you know what it's like, and this is our only window. So we were going to go to Mount Dare. We had our filming permits to either do the French line, to do the Rig Road, to do the goes up north, Madigan, and then up the Hay River track. So come out at the top. We had all permits for all options. Madigan and Hay River track was open, so that was our backup. But that was going to be a nasty. If we had to do that, we were going to be. It was so bad for us because we had to be back for the Sydney Four Drive show.
Yeah, so big days.
Man, that would have been epic if we'd had to do that. But fortunately, we got to Mount Dare and they opened the desert the day before.
Beautiful.
So we were like second convoys or so across.
Yeah, nice.
You know. And we saw the Pajero and the Prado
still sitting out there.
Sitting there, so they got Mad Matt stickers. And
yeah, good. They were out there for a little while.
They were. They come in like 2 days after we went through. So
that was a phenomenal piece of content to watch.
Yes.
And whilst watching it, all I could think was, God, I'm glad I wasn't there.
Yeah, I couldn't. Oh, mate,
not in my car.
No, that was misery, man.
Not
it looks a
car.
great adventure and all that, and great to talk about later. But in the time, that would have
Scary.
been misery.
Yeah.
Would have been horrible. Cold, muddy, wet, lack of sleep, lack of food.
Nah. But, I was talking about this recently with somebody else. You never remember when it all goes well.
No.
You're like, people don't sit around and go, remember when we drove that track and everyone just drove it normally and then we went home? It's like, that's boring. It's like, I remember when you flipped your car or you broke everything or you got stuck in the desert for a week,
Hey, hats off to him, like, good story.
Yeah,
and I did watch it all and I'm like, glad I wasn't there, but yeah, good on him.
I think everybody with even a remote interest in four-wheel drives watched that.
Yeah. And, like a lot of people like to bag out four-wheel drive 24/7. Myself personally, I watch a lot of the drives stuff you do and all that. Aside from leaving the winch on the hook on the dashboard, I'll give you a stick about that. I should do a react on that.
We can talk about that. Everybody else does.
But generally speaking, I watch the four-wheel drive 24/7 content, and people are like, they're just out there wrecking tracks and that. And I say to myself, okay, if I was in my car and doing that track, how would I drive that obstacle?
Yeah.
And 99% of the time, I'm like, I'd drive it like that.
Yeah.
Like, I think people just, because four-wheel drive 24/7 is the top of the tree, the biggest boys in the block, all of that sort of thing. I think it's like, well, let's just call Poppy.
Unfortunately, it is. And you know what? Bothered, I do dumb stuff.
Same.
I don't care. And I say this to people all the time, right? I don't consider myself to be a particularly good driver. I'm definitely not an expert. I got into four-wheel drives pretty late, comparatively. I only bought my first four-wheel drive 10 years ago.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I'm doing my learning on a fairly public stage.
Yeah.
Arguably the biggest one.
Yeah.
And, when I do dumb stuff, I go,
I did dumb stuff.
I did dumb stuff. I learnt from it. I won't do it again, right? And also, many times I'm way out of my comfort zone. Some of the stuff that I've driven with those boys is proper hard tracks, you know, and the consequences are pretty severe. So a lot of the time I'm really nervous because I don't have the skills and the experience, and I'm like, well,
and you got a camera pointing at you and all the peer pressure.
And a few times I've said I'm not doing it, and I haven't. You know, I'll just say, nah, this is beyond me. But one thing that I will never understand is, you have a flick through some of those comments and people are putting shit on Sean, on Graham, on Jesse, on Jock. When you did your shark crossing, people are going, oh, it's an ad, you got paid to do it. And, you know, what I don't understand is, this content is free. It is not free to produce. It is very costly to produce. But it's being put out there for free, for entertainment, for education, for whatever. If you don't want to watch it, just don't watch it. Go watch little Indonesian fellas chiseling clay structures in the jungle, or whatever it is you want to watch. But I'll never understand that. And watching, you know, I guess the aftermath of your Simpson crossing, I couldn't believe the amount of stick you were copping for that. I'm like, this bloke's bought a car. Yes, you had corporate backing to help fund the trip from
the
GME
trip,
and from other companies,
but not the
and
car.
You were quite open about that because, hey, guess what, champions? Stuff costs money. You made free content for people to watch. And they're like, oh, well, it's an ad. Just like, I don't understand it, eh? And for you to have to then defend yourself, it's like, you don't have to do this.
No, and I didn't need to defend myself. I've got.
No, but I mean, you didn't have to do the journey.
No, that's right. But I wanted to. But I enjoyed it. And the funny thing, that trip actually cost me money.
Of course
it was not a product. It was a proof of concept. And we wanted to prove the concept, so we got some funding, but I'm negative on that. That's business. I'm a businessman as well, so you know it's cool. But I don't get why people think they've got to try and make themselves look good. It's like,
well, no one cares.
No one cares.
I don't think anyone's reading the comments going, oh yeah, you really showed them.
No, I'm certainly not reading the comment thinking, oh, you've shown me.
It's like, what I always think is like, oh, well, maybe I did something dumb, but I was out having fun in a four-wheel drive and getting paid for it. You're sitting at home.
What colour's your forklift?
Exactly. Like, whatever.
Just ease up, peoples. Have a life, have fun. Like,
I don't know. I reckon just, you know, and celebrate people who are just doing stuff that's different. If we all did the same things all the time in the same cars, it'd be very, very boring.
Oh, wouldn't it what? And absolutely.
Mate, BYD Sharks, Mitsubishi Delicas, Land Cruisers Patrol, I don't care what it is. Like, I'm like you, right? If it's got four wheels and a motor, I like it.
I mean, I'll give patrol owners, or I'll give anybody stick about their vehicle. If I can find a point of difference, I'm going to give you a stick. But at the end of the day, I really don't care. I just want to have banter and fun and go wheeling. Like,
I do have I get a great deal of personal satisfaction from teasing 79 series cruiser owners. Only because they really get offended.
That's the worst thing you can do. If I'm picking on you and you get offended, you've really made a mistake there, because I'm doubling down.
Absolutely.
But give it back to me too.
And it's got to be from the right place, right? Like a bit of banter and a bit of fun in Australia. It's what makes us Australian, right? We can take the piss out of ourselves and each other, but when it becomes nasty and when people are personally attacking you for doing stuff like that, it's
that's the rules I have. I have very simple rules on my page. I'll let any conversation run its course as long as we're on topic. You start calling people names or attacking other people, you just get banned. I just ban you completely. That's the only standard. I just won't put up with that.
I've started blocking people for the same. It's like, you're not adding anything. What I'm trying to build with this is a community. Exactly.
Yeah, that's right.
I like nothing more than when I put a podcast out there and we have a really good conversation, and then the community gets involved and they start talking about it. It's like, this is what it's about.
It's a big campfire.
This whole thing is meant to be a conversation, right? It's not us talking about how good we are or anything like that. It's a conversation about things that we all love.
Yeah, absolutely. I want people to be inspired to go, I'm gonna make some changes to my life, because that's what I had to do, and so that I can go and do more of what I want to do. I was over in near here at a shopping centre today, and a bloke come past and he had a stretch 200 just like mine. He parked just 2 cars up. So how good are the stretch 200? He's like, yeah, he said, that's my 3rd one. He said, I just got back on Sunday from 2 years going around Australia. I'm like, there's a dude who's gone, we're going travelling Australia, family, and he's headed off 2 years on the road. Like, I want to inspire people to do that.
Yeah.
Whatever it looks like for them, I don't care. Yeah. Just make some changes in your life so that you can go and do what you do. Don't, money's hard to come by. Yeah, it is. Yeah, I've done Struggle Street. When I started this, I was doing 2 jobs. Yeah. So I was working this as basically a full-time gig, and then I was working as a boilermaker, mechanical fitter, and whatever other job I could find to feed a young family and raise a family. Yep. Like doing the yards. Now I'm reaping the rewards. Yep. Some would say I'm semi-retired. I'm not. It can certainly look like it.
Mate, whatever works. But
I have lifestyle.
You've had lifestyle, and you've had some incredible experiences.
So I sure do.
And I'm sure you've got a few more in you.
Yeah, I've got some stuff coming, mate.
Yeah.
You've got to stay tuned.
That's good.
Yeah, we've got... having been doing what I've been doing for 13 years, I've got to confess, I'm a little bit... I'm ready for a change.
Yes.
So in the next period of time, we've got some really cool changes that I'm actually getting excited about now, and that excitement is what comes through the camera lens. And I watch my content now, and I'm like, I feel like I can see that I'm doing a job.
Yep, going through the motions.
I'm going through the motions, and I feel like I want to give better than that to our community. So, so I'm really excited about what's coming shortly or soon enough, and I think it'll be cool.
That's very cool, mate. I can't wait. So, one final question: do you still love it as much as you did when you first had that experience in the Jackaroo?
You know, it's different, but yeah, I'll still do a good drive, and it'll be way more extreme than I would have done then. I'll still do a good drive, and I'll be adrenaline buzzing and giggling like a little kid for hours, just thinking, oh man, that was so cool. Oh geez, whatever it was, Often it's in the race car these days. That's a more extreme opportunity, and because I was starting to push limits with my on-road vehicles, the race car allows me to do it safer because roll cage, harness, helmets, all of that. So, some of the lines we'll pick to drive in the race car are just nuts, man.
Yeah, just rude.
Just rude, and you go, this is scary. And then you drive it and you're like, but that was cool. Yeah. And that's like me and my Navi co-driver, he's actually one of Luke Antrim's good mates, Zane. He does the big events with me, and we'll just get the giggles in the car. It's like so cool.
There's nothing for people like you and I who just love cars and wheeling, like that feeling of, oh, the car's definitely not going to go up there. Oh, it just went up there. Oh my goodness! And you're on cloud 9, and it's such a simple thing, right? But that feeling of like, oh, it wasn't supposed to do that, but it did it. That's pretty cool, eh?
Yeah, it really is. I'll tell you what, I'll throw something out at you. One of these days, you've got an open invite. You tell me when. Come and navvy for me. Co-drive in my race car.
Oh, mate, I would absolutely love that, mate. Yeah. Thank you.
One of the Ultra 4 rounds, or just one of those easy weekend sort of things. It's just fun.
Yep.
I'll if you behave yourself,
take you up on that.
All right. You behave yourself, I might give you a steer.
Oh, geez.
Let us know if we should do that.
Let's not get carried away here. I said to you just the other day, Benji told me I'm allowed to have a steer of his rock crawler, and I went, I don't know if that's a good idea, dude, but at least that's slow. Your car's not that slow.
Well, I was racing Ultra 4 the other day, and we reckon we were doing about 170 down the straight on Trepadors. On Max's trips, mate, that's a bit sketchy.
Good. On bias fly tyre, right? Yeah, good. Mate, if anyone doesn't already follow you, what's the best platform for them to check out what you're doing? Is it YouTube?
YouTube, Facebook, that's where I mainly play. I've got Instagram, I'm not real good on that. Yep. But yeah, YouTube, we put a fortnightly video up there. Yep. And we always try to keep that very much on the educational space. Yep. And I think we're up there 300 something videos on there now.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. So there's a huge amount of educational content in there for people who are just coming into the industry. Just just go watch it and learn. You're just going to learn so much, and then Facebook's can be anything, but there's also a lot of educational content there, but it's harder to find, you know. But the biggest thing too is inbox me. If you've got a question, inbox me. I will respond to everybody.
Yeah, good on you.
You know, just because, like I say, I'm here to serve the community, so it's part of that is responding to comments. And you know, most days I get up in the morning and sit there and have the combos, but it's important.
It is,
so I
mate.
try to make myself available to people as best I can.
No, good on you, mate. You are one of the good ones, mate. Thank you very much for your time.
Pleasure.
I appreciate it.
It's been awesome.
And we will see all of you next time on the outer side.